Hello all, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to the newest episode of the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast, taped live at Twitch and available on YouTube, on Spotify, on Google, and Apple Podcasts. I'm Austin. I'm a knockout, watched a lot of wrestling.
I'm David. I'm a noob, haven't watched nearly as much wrestling, and for all you know, I'm the fourth man.
I doubt it, though.
Oh, God damn it. Look, I'm trying to throw out a proper red herring here, okay? That all the cool kids are doing it. I want to get in on it.
If you say so. But yes, today we return to the NWO. Our last time in the NWO, actually. This is our 5th episode, and we're wrapping up for the time being.
It's always so wild when we end an arc, dude. It feels like it's been so long and yet no time at all.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just wild, it's Hog Wild.
Yeah.
Because that is our show today. We are watching WCW Hog Wild, taking place August 10th, 1996, a pay-per-view event. And it famously is at the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally in Sturgis, South Dakota. Mm-hmm. It's a big old motorcycle rally. There's so much leather in this pay-per-view.
Stinky.
Yes, and basically, why did they do a show here? Well, officially, it's because the WCW and Eric Bischoff likes to do shows at unique venues and setups to kind of create interesting visuals. But also, Eric Bischoff is a giant motorcycle nerd, and he really wanted to go to Sturgis. So we're going to Sturgis.
Eric Bischoff is just Adam Sandler-ing this pay-per-view. Yes.
Now, the event is kind of well known for the fact that it takes place at the motorcycle rally, which means there are no paid attendants. Everybody who's attending are just people who were at the motorcycle rally.
They didn't even think to be like, hey, give us a cut of the ticket, Rev. They're just like, yeah, we're just going to show up here and it's going to be hunky-dory. Don't think about it too hard.
I don't know if they had the authority to do. I don't know if they had the ability to kind of push for that kind of thing, but they should have, because
how do you not have this venue's hosting WCW? Why the fuck wouldn't they be able to say like, hey, if we're gonna be here, we want to cut?
I don't know. I've never really heard anyone explain like the business. Like, I've never heard anyone give an explanation for like why this situation happened beyond the fact they're just like, yeah, there were no paying customers to this show.
Cool. Great. Love it when he just drives his own company into the ground. Love just the fact the writing was always on the wall.
Yep, but for now, we're just going to enjoy watching a bunch of drunken rednecks on their motorcycles, watching wrestling, and of course, revving them. That's just a hint for what's to come. They're going to rev their goddamn motorcycles.
Oh, of course.
Yes. So, what are the matches of this show? As usual, I was going to say up front, as usual we do with our pay-per-view shows, we only watch about 2/3 of it because of the timing constraints that me and David have for recording. So, here are the match card, and I will say what matches we're going to watch and what we aren't, and I'll give a bit of an explanation for the story in between, because there's been an episode of Nitro since we last watched, since they heinously attacked Rey Mysterio in the parking lot.
I know, fucking lawn darted him against that trailer. Jesus Christ.
And we had the first ever black and white NWO promo, and absolutely nothing else happened on the 2
I know, and it was great. I don't care that it was boring. It was awesome. I will die on this hill, Austin. I'm so sorry.
You won me over a little bit on that.
Yes.
Not entirely.
I'll take that victory.
Right. So here are the matches. In reverse order from the main event to the opening match. We get the main event is Hollywood Hulk Hogan versus the Giant for the World Heavyweight Championship.
I'm so fucking hyped for this dude.
The Giant is kind of taking this position of being like the last line of defense, so to speak. Like he's the champion, therefore it's all good. As long as none of the NWO has the belt, everything's good.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to go over swimmingly. No problems whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. And he's been beating up people. This past episode of Nitro, he squashed Sergeant Craig Pittman, whatever. And then he cut a promo that was like, it was kind of sweet, and he was his normal big shouty fare, but then he also ended it with, Hogan, if you say you got the guts, you show up at Sturgis and I'll hand them back to you.
Ooh. Go off, Giant. Spit them bars. Okay.
Meanwhile, Hogan, we got another black and white promo. And if you thought that the last one was kind of iffy because of Hogan's mannerisms, this one's even worse. Like, Hogan just continues to devolve back into doing his regular shtick. Like,
But his regular shtick is what makes him a heel for real.
Yeah, but you got him doing lines. The two that stuck out the most to me is he's like, on October the 11th, 10th, I'm gonna be the Giant, which is weird because he also he doesn't do his promo voice. He doesn't do his real voice either, but he does like his fake voice, but not yelling. He wasn't shouting. He just, when he says on August the 10th, I'm going to beat the Giant, he says it in a normal volume, but not in his real voice. It was kind of weird and unexpected.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, my point is, he says his line, he's like, on August 10th, I'm going to beat the Giant. And August 11th is my birthday. And you get, which is legit, I looked it up, and you get Scott Hall and Kevin Nash singing happy birthday to Hogan while he pretends to cry for a second.
What?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference between this promo and the one we watched before is that in the first one, Hall and Nash were a little silly, but generally were tried to be more serious. It felt like on this one they leaned into this. They let Hogan's silliness seep into their stuff too more often.
They knew who they were working with at this point. They understood.
Like you got Scott Hall which is an interesting threat, but because he's carrying a baseball bat and he's like, hey, maybe billionaire Ted needs some home run hitters on the Braves. After all, we know how to swing a bat.
Oh, okay, cool. I have to say, as much as I appreciate the je ne sais quoi that the NWO possesses, man, some of their lines that are meant to sound cool are just clunky as shit.
Yup. And you also get Hogan doing, when he was feuding with the Giant before, when he was a face, he had two bits that he constantly did. First, he would call the Giant the big stinky giant.
Okay.
And he would also find some way to work in the phrase fee, fi, fo, fum. He brought back the fairy tale line in this black and white promo. Him and Hall and Nash do like the fee, fi, fo, fum bit.
Cute, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. So that's our main event. Hogan is trying to almost complete. They frame it as almost like a completion of the invasion is climaxed if Hogan can win the title. It's all culminated and come together, and
which is really funny to think about when you know just how eternal the NWO storyline was, how never-ending it seems, how fucking ubiquitous it is that even in 2021 on AEW Dynamite you can see people in the seats wearing NWO shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the climax. Okay.
So, yeah, I had forgotten that they opened the promo doing a bunch of goofy bits about Sting, Luger, and Savage. That leads into the next match, by the way. And we had Kevin Nash saying, you know, since we got here, it's no longer about taking over. It's now about extermination. So they've now upgraded to we're going to murder everybody.
You know, while that does sound like an upgrade, I do have to point out the kind of tactical sidestep they're doing here, in that there's no way they were gonna run NWO like runs the show. It's our house now sort of thing. So instead, they don't really achieve a takeover so much, but they're like, all right, now that we've established ourselves as the threat, we just get to like be on TV kicking everybody's asses. So just don't try not to remember that part where we were low key threatening to like just kind of dethrone Eric Bischoff and
don't think about it.
Oh God, wrestling, the official tagline of all wrestling ever is don't think about it.
Hey, you're right. So the next match we have in the semi-main is the Outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, taking on Sting and Lex Luger in a tag team match.
Nice.
So Sting, Luger, and Randy Savage have kind of continued to be like the face of the resistance. Let's call it like that. And on this most recent episode, they have a lot of beats. So first you get Sting and Luger interrupting because the Nasty Boys had another match. Great. They're not on this pay-per-view, but I need to mention this part. They cut a promo afterwards, kind of backpedaling a little bit about that whole we kind of want to join the NWO thing. Now they kind of play it as like everyone kind of assumes we're NWO because of our friendship with Hogan, but no, we're for ourselves, guys. We're not NWO.
So this is post Hogan having the like conversation with them outside the locker room of like, hey guys, listen, I guys in there. Yeah, that whole bit. We're post that at this point.
Yes, but Sting and Luger are like, I don't know. This all sounds kind of sketchy and bullshit to me. I don't know if we can trust you. So the main event is they have a match against the Nasty Boys and they win. But before they win, we get in the middle of the show, Randy Savage beats Lord Steven Regal in a match. Ooh. And earlier in the night, they redo the limo bit. I mentioned last time they had a bit where there was a limo parked outside Disney MGM Studios. They're still there, by the way. I swear this is the last Disney MGM show. And everyone's like, who's in the limo? They do it again on the August 4th episode. And August 4th episode of Nitro. And the first time Sting and Luger go over there to the limo, they open the limo and all they find is a bouquet of flowers, and on the flowers it says condolences for the death of WCW. And they're like, what's going on here?
Okay. So are they trying to do this as another Ric Flair red herring, or
no, this is just more passive aggression from the NWO.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and then circling back to the NWO black and white promo, it actually cuts off mid-promo because they go to the back and they show that Sting and Lex Luger went to the production truck and told the guys in the production truck to cut the commercial.
Oh, shit.
They bullied these poor production people into cutting the commercial because they don't want trash broadcasted on Nitro. Which I'm going to point out that this episode had the Nasty Boys in a match and the Booty Man in a match. So I think some trash already made air.
Well, look, they're
audio.
Microphone.
Okay, you're back.
Against their own hometown boys here, unfortunately. As much as I want to fucking see them, just be like, hey, while we're at it, fuck all of these annoying dudes that just aren't part of the NWO, but we hate them anyway.
Yeah.
But, fine, whatever.
Yeah, the poor production guys are like, but they pay for the ad space, and Sting and Luger apparently do not consider this a legitimate reason to have to play the ad. They're like, oh, you got NWO on your shirt?
Yeah, look, this is why I want a show or a movie or something that's like about all the like beleaguered technicians that work for wrestling companies and all the bullshit they have to put up with in kayfabe, but it's like real.
Mm-hmm. So we get to the main event bit. They beat the Nasty Boys, and then they go to the limo again, and because there's more wrestling in the limo, and they get to the limo, and someone rolls the window down. We don't know who, and they throw a satchel at Sting and Luger. And they go off the air before they reveal what's in the satchel. But they have an after show exclusive clip edited back into the end here, so we get to see what happened afterwards. So Sting opens the satchel, and it's a piece of paper, and it says from the NWO, it says, Ray was right. There were 4 men. Or were there 5?
Oh, God damn it.
Yep.
Son of a bitch. Why?
Yeah, they're just already they're already hinting at more people.
God. Okay. I'm of two minds about this, because on one hand, I'm sure it's like, I guess it was probably cool, like, in the moment of like, look at all the numbers we're amassing. It's so, like, ooh, scary.
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah, I'm sure, like, this is one of those things of, like, it's hard to kind of, like, put yourself in the moment sometimes of what it must have been like back then to see the story, like, ride out. But, like, now, with the benefit of hindsight, knowing where this goes, it just, again, the writing's been on the wall of just how dumb and bloated the NWO is past this point.
Like, could they have savored this moment of only the 3 of them a little bit more?
Nope, evidently not.
Oh, also, I'm using this a good time for me to point this out, is that I was thinking about this in the work up to this episode, and honestly, like, the bit with Rey Mysterio and the 4th man thing would have been more interesting if they didn't hint at the 4th man before Rey Mysterio got attacked. Like, I didn't make this connection last time when we actually watched this episode, but, like, I did mention that they were hinting at this idea of who's the 4th man. And, like, I think it would have been more narratively interesting if Rey Mysterio being like, there was 4, was, like, an actual shock reveal moment that had never been even considered on air before.
Yes, that I can get down with. And I think that might have even, like, that might even for me have been enough to lay off just now, because it doesn't feel like at the time they were already planning to, it wouldn't have felt like they were already planning to bloat this thing, or it wouldn't have felt so obvious. It would have seemed like really, like, well-calculated storytelling. That does seem like a bit of a missed opportunity, and damn, now that you say that, I wish we had it like that, like right at that moment. Yeah.
So that's that match. Then the next match, Ric Flair versus Eddie Guerrero for the United States Championship. I don't have any. This story is barely built to, and the only reason we're including it is because one of these matches has absolutely no story at all, so we're skipping that one.
Fair enough.
So what Flair and the Horsemen are back. Arn Anderson showed up on this episode to kind of be like, I'm recovering from my injuries and I want revenge. Their purpose is they beat the shit out of the Booty Man. I'm not even being like, it's Ric Flair faces the Booty Man and it's a one-sided beatdown, and then all the Horsemen show up and kick his ass some more. Because they're playing this off as a message to Hogan, because the Booty Man is also IRL friends with Hogan, and they're leaning on that too, the same way they're leaning on the Nasty Boys part. So they're sending a message to Hogan by brutalizing someone who's supposed to be his friend. And they're like, we're coming for you too, horse. NWO. And how this connects to Eddie is that they also do a bit on one of the WCW weekend shows. They pre-tape those where Flair was in a match with Chavo Guerrero, and he basically tried to injure him and refused to let go of the figure 4 leg lock. Eddie Guerrero came to the rescue of his cousin, and then there was a promo with Eddie, Chavo, and injured Rey Mysterio all being like, "We stand together, and I'm gonna beat you, Flair." No. There's not a lot to it, but there is something to it, which is how it made the cut here.
There's something, and it's even funnier the fact that Ray's involved here with what you were telling me about. I want to say it was WWE 2K12, where the fucking story mode has Ray being part of the NWO or whatever. Yes,
that's it. In WWE 12, they do a bit. They basically kind of do NWO Light, where Kevin Nash comes back to WWE to try to destroy it and bring back WCW, and in the storyline they have Rey Mysterio turned heel and align with WCW.
So stupid, but funny that probably very easy connection on my part, but I don't know. I find that mildly amusing.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing's kind of amusing that, they have these guys turned heel who've been, on record as saying, yeah, it kind of sucked being in WCW by the time we left. Yeah. And then they're the ones aligning, being like, we gotta bring back WCW, man.
Damn, they really lean hard on the non-canonicity of those games. They're just like, yeah, we can do whatever.
Whatever. The story modes are pretty fucking fun, though, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I remember watching you play one that had that seemed entertaining enough. I just remember at one point your character was having a conversation with Triple H, who I had no idea who the fuck that was at the time. And you were like, oh yeah, in this one you work your way up from the indies, and I'm like,
oh yeah, that's 2K19. That wasn't a bad one.
That wasn't a bad one. Nice.
Anyway, moving on, the next bit is Harlem Heat versus the Steiner brothers for the tag team titles. Nothing to really add about the Steiners. They're still, being beefy boys, kick ass. Harlem Heat continues to, win by cheating through, these comical mousetrap of situations. Where, as a reminder is of what the storyline going here right now is that their manager was Sherry Martel, and she has rekindled her romance with noted plantation owner Colonel Robert Parker, and so now Harlem Heat is frustrated with the both of them because they are being too busy wrapped up in each other to help Harlem Heat cheat to win matches.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's a hell of a way to do your cheater group falling apart angle.
And instead, when they do help to cheat, it's through ridiculously complicated methods. For example, on the August 4th episode of Nitro, they have a match with the Rock and Roll Express. The sequence of events goes: Robert Gibson pins one of Harlem Heat, I think Booker T. Sherry pops up on the apron and starts making out with him as a distraction technique. This pisses off Robert Parker, who then gets up on the apron to yell at Robert Gibson for macking on his woman. This distraction leads to Harlem Heat pinning one of the Rock and Roll Express to win the match.
Oh, that's that sounds like it takes up more action than a match itself.
Yeah, it's overly complicated and not particularly great. To be honest,
it's really funny that one of the running threads of our current arcs is cheaters fucking up in increasingly ridiculous ways and increasingly weird things being done with your cheater characters.
Yeah.
Danny Davis.
Hey, Danny, my man.
Our man, Danny, referee, crooked, corrupt referee turned wrestler.
The greatest referee in wrestling history, Danny Davis, a real rule enforcer.
He kept Jim Neidhart in that corner, Dan.
He did. So, the first match of ours that we're going to skip because of personal reasons that we've brought up on this show before, Chris Benoit versus Dean Malenko. Yes, the Chris Benoit factor of this says we're not watching it, but
helps out a lot. What do you say? It cuts down like 26 minutes?
Yes, okay. This match is the longest match on the show, going 26 minutes, 55 seconds.
This match is the longest.
And it probably is really freaking good because this is two of the greatest technical wrestlers in 1996 going to almost half an hour on pay-per-view. It probably bangs real hard. But
Chris Benoit is a murderer.
But so we are not intentionally watching Benoit matches if I can help it. So, but I will say the storyline is pretty simple. It's basically a situation where it's they keep getting in each other's business, and it's not helped by the fact that Jimmy Hart is trying to recruit Dean Malenko to the Dungeon of Doom. So now he's like, Dean Malenko is getting sucked into the Horseman versus Dungeon stuff.
Yeah, because we needed more of that. What?
We do. We need more Kevin Sullivan and Chris Benoit feuding over Kevin's real life wife woman leaving him for Chris Benoit in real life and in kayfabe. We need more of that storyline.
God. Why? You know, it would have been really nice if Benoit were a shit worker, if he were just real bad in ring, to match all the shit of this storyline and all the shit that fucker turned into.
But no, he also has to be one of the greatest technical wrestlers on the planet.
Oh, fuck off, Chris Benoit.
Yes. Anyway, the next is Medusa versus Bull Nakano. A random women's match sighting.
Bull! I love her!
I wanted to include this basically almost as a make good for SummerSlam 94 when we had to skip Alundra Blaze versus Bull Nakano, so now we get to see that same match in WCW.
Oh, Alundra Blaze is also
Is Medusa. That is her non-WWE name.
Oh, shit. Okay. Nice.
In fact, that name was not constructed entirely because of the mythology bit of it. Though I think some of that is included. It's also it's technically short for Made in the USA, which was kind of her bit when she was in Japan.
That is something about invoking Greek mythology to do American jingoism feels weird and maybe a little wrong. Just personally.
Well, if you're concerned about jingoism, let's actually talk about Medusa and Bull Nakano for a second. Here's what this storyline is it is the Battle of the Bikes, where the loser gets their motorcycle destroyed by the winner.
Both of them drive motorcycles?
Only for the sake of this match, and it's never mentioned again. However, this match was thrown together on this episode of Nitro, the August 4th episode, where they announced this match, and it is and if you want, the jingoism aspect comes from Sonny Ono. I don't know if I've ever mentioned him explicitly on this podcast before, but in IRL, Sonny Ono was basically one of Eric Bischoff's friends he just kind of happened to make along the way, and he brought Sonny in as a Japanese ambassador. Or as a company ambassador to Japan because he could speak Japanese. And he kind of also then became an on-screen figure as the heel manager for all Japanese wrestlers. In WCW, every single Japanese wrestler is an evil anti-American heel managed by Sonny Ono. Bull Nakano is no exception to this.
Oh, okay. Wait, no. Why? No, I like Bull a lot. Why do they have to do some dumb shit with her like that?
Because that's what WCW do.
That's what all of fucking 80s and 90s and early aughts and kind of 2010s and even occasionally 2020s wrestling does. Oh. No.
Yeah. And so the only build for this match on the August 4th episode of Nitro is they had Medusa beat up a different Japanese wrestler, Maya Hosaka, to be precise.
Unfortunate.
Fun fact, despite being Japanese in ethnicity, she is from Hawaii.
Of course, points for a kind of accuracy, I guess. Wait, it also dawns on me that the last fucking Bull Nakano match we watched was also her against a Murica girl. Right?
I don't think Charlie Lee Morgan had any character, really.
Okay, she was in Red, White, and Blue, though, if I remember.
Yeah, I guess, but they don't really. They didn't emphasize that. So I was just like, who?
I'm detecting a pattern here.
When Bull Nakano shows up in America, she's wrestling as the evil foreigner against the Americans. Yes, you might notice that pattern.
Who hates America? Because of course we're gonna build that for Heat. Fuck off.
Sure. Next week.
Here's the thing for me, as the filthy lefty that I am. Personally, for me, if someone tries to build heel Heat off of hating Murica, that's just gonna be an Uno reverse card for me, baby. Because I'm gonna be like, the only Heat you're gonna get from me is not hating Murica enough. Okay, fucking gotta pass my test, then I'll root for you.
Nice. Then we have Scott Norton versus Ice Train. The Fire and Ice implodes.
Oh yeah.
So in case you've forgotten, they were a tag team, and they fired Teddy Long as their manager and broke up as a tag team because they were losing too much as a tag team. So they're like, "Fuck this."
The Ice. This wasn't the Mortal Kombat thing, right?
No, that's Glacier.
Oh, okay.
Ice Train was just the big black dude who's in ice-colored tights. And so he's Ice Train.
You know what? I'm here. You know, that makes me imagine him as like one of the elemental siblings of Alan Rails from Rick and Morty.
This is where I wish I'd seen that show.
There's an episode that parodies like the Avengers, and there's a character named Alan Rails who is like a big beefy black dude in like a conductor's uniform who can summon ghost trains.
That's an oddly specific power set.
That's the joke is that they have weird powers, but yeah. So now like I'm headcanoning that they're like elemental siblings, so he can summon ice trains.
Yeah, instead of ghost trains, it's ice trains. Because this is also Pokemon where ghost and ice are elements.
Look, okay? I mean elemental in a broad, ethereal sense. Sure, a Pokemon sense, if you want to call it that. Fine.
I do want to call it that.
Oh, god damn it.
Anyway, also this is as good a time as any to bring this up because I forgot to mention this earlier, is that on the August 4th episode of Nitro, after the events of the heinous backlot beating, on this episode, some of the Jobbery boys showed up as in-ring security. So during every match, they just kind of stood out there on watch. Ming and the Barbarian, I forget their name already. Big Bubba did it, and Scott Norton was out there. They were standing out there watching for those NWO guys to show up.
I bet they did a real good job at making sure no shenanigans went down.
Apparently, they're actually cool with any WCW-related shenanigans. Like when the Horsemen all came out to shit-canned the Booty Man. That was fine. As long as it's not Hogan, Hall, and Nash, it's all good.
Yeah, look, they're there for one job and one job only. They know what they're getting paid for. Nothing more, nothing less.
Nothing. They're getting paid nothing at all.
Oh. Well, wait. Why are they?
Apparently, it's a volunteer job, from what they say on commentary.
Oh God! Well, then they knew what they were volunteering for. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Anyway,
What
and
do I pay
then
you for you don't pay me at all.
Anyway, the first match of the show, and one that we are skipping, unfortunately, is Rey Mysterio versus Ultimo Dragon for the Cruiserweight Championship.
You're depriving me of. Okay, you're giving me Bull. You're giving me Bull Nakano. I can live with that.
Listen, it was between this and Flair Guerrero, and I decided that literally at least Flair and Guerrero appeared on screen together.
Yeah, but have you considered fuck Ric Flair, all hail Wrestle Daddy Rey Mysterio?
I get that, but also, afraid not. We're not banning Ric Flair from this podcast, so he's not going to get the Benoit treatment on these circumstances.
We gotta appease the people who actually give a shit about Ric Flair. Fine.
Anyway, Ultimo Dragon is another Japanese wrestler managed by Sonny Ono.
Of course. Wait, I was thinking that. I'm kind of surprised. This sounded like it was going to be another Lucha versus Lucha match.
I mean, he is a masked wrestler. He was trained in the Lucha Libre style in Mexico. But he is Japanese. So he's going with Sonny Ono.
Of course he is.
Yay.
Yeah, why not?
And that is the rundown of the WCW Hog Wild pay-per-view. If you would like to watch along with us, you can watch on Peacock. PeacockTV.com. That's it. Yes, I totally know what these web addresses
You
are.
don't need to pretend. Fuck Peacock. It doesn't deserve our memorization.
Fair. It's $4.99 a month with ads, $5.99 a month without. It is WWE's American streaming partner. If you are international, you can probably still use the WWE Network, which is still $9.99 American. And you can get all of WCW's owned tape library, including WCW Hog Wild.
Fancy shit.
Yep. But for now, we're going to go watch the show. We will be back to talk about Hog Wild. And we are back. We have just finished WCW Hog Wild 1996. WCW coming at you live from Sturgis, South Dakota. And all of your hopes and dreams are dead because Hollywood Hogan is the champion again.
Wow, what a shocker. Also, the booty man is the fourth man, except not really, I guess.
But
what the fuck?
But for 5 minutes, you thought the fourth man was
the booty man.
The booty man.
I was so mad. I'm still kind of mad, because I feel like they did... This was dumb, but okay. I gotta say... On a whole, this is probably a controversial opinion. I wasn't super impressed by this pay-per-view.
No, it's not. It's not that well regarded.
Oh, really? Oh,
no.
Don't. I didn't do a controversial. Yay.
Yeah, we did happen to skip 2 of the better matches on the show.
That's
but
fair.
even with that included, most people are kind of like, eh.
Okay, cool.
To this show.
Like, okay, I'm sure that like when it came out it was cool because the effect yada yada yada, but it's hard to put yourself in that when you're removed without like a lot more exciting shit going down.
No.
But yeah, here we are in Sturgis. A lot of people on bikes. For
to give people idea of like what the setup was here is you have the WCW stage and they just like set up like their backstage area through this like big dirt walkway.
Yeah, they're outside again.
Yeah, they're outside and nobody is sitting down because I don't think there were even chairs. And it's just like people who showed up at the rally and a bunch of people are sitting on their motorcycles the whole show. They love to rev their motorcycles in approval or disapproval.
Or disapproval.
We will
we'll get to
that.
Oh, we're going to have a great time talking about that, my friends. Strap the fuck in.
Yeah. So do you want to just go in order with this one?
Yeah, sure. First note I have, which I think just, if we're talking about the aesthetic, right, of being at Sturgis, first note I have is Mean Gene and denim.
Everyone was wearing a shitload of denim tonight.
Everyone was wearing, but Mean Gene Okerlund is in a fucking t-shirt, denim
jacket,
like sleeveless denim jacket, and like denim baseball cap. It was,
and the sunglasses.
It's so wild because Mean Gene always wears a tuxedo, and all of a sudden he's casual Fridaying it here at Sturgis, decked out in fucking blue jeans from head to toe. Yes, baby.
They had the announce team really get into the styling going on here, because also you had Dusty Rhodes on commentary. He was in a denim jacket top.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah.
And then denim jean shorts.
Mm-hmm. Dusty won, I think, most iconic for tonight, just in general.
And then Tony Schiavone was in denim jacket and full length jeans, and he had a cap on, and he had his hair was flowing down.
Yep.
And Heenan was in casual for him. He didn't wear denim, but he wore like a more casual jacket than he usually wears.
It kind of looked like he was in leather, but maybe I'm just crazy.
A little bit. They open the show talking up how cool Sturgis is, and they do that as like a time fillery bit the entire show.
They fucking plug how cool Sturgis is to be at, and yet they didn't demand a single fucking penny of comp from this event. Or are you shitting me?
As it turns out, WCW were marks for Sturgis.
As it turns out, WCW were bad with finances. Whoops.
Yeah, so we get our intro. They're like, woohoo! They show the wrestlers on. We're gonna get a bigger segment about this later, but they show the wrestlers on their motorbikes at Sturgis, ready to go. The sun is nice. The sun is bright and out and bright. And by the end of the night, the sun has already gone down. So we kind of get to see cool different visuals of that for lighting throughout the show. But we start with the first match that we skipped. Rey Mysterio versus Ultimate Dragon.
Yep. Sad to see that not happen. But Rey won. We saw at the very tail end. So that's cool, I guess.
Yeah. And then this was our first appearance of Mean Gene. He plugs the WCW hotline.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, where you can talk to wrestlers IRL during the show.
Yeah, if only we could still call that fucking hotline.
Who did we see on the computers? Was that was
Steiners?
Steiners. It cuts to the because you could like fucking.
That's later. That. That's a different.
Oh, that's different. Oh yeah, no, but he plugs like he. Wait, so what's the hotline then?
That is when you can call in and like talk to wrestlers and get the latest rumors and scoops.
Wait, so you had talk to wrestlers and DM the wrestlers?
Yes. You can get them with the IMs, or you can get them on the phones.
Incredible. I wish I could give that now. Yeah, they literally on the video have the number plastered over with like, this number is no longer in use.
Very sad.
They're trying to avoid a Squid Games phone number situation, I see.
Yeah.
To date our show.
Hey. Anyway, next, our first match that we actually got to watch was Scott Norton versus Ice Train. Two beefy boys going at it.
Ice Train wearing red inexplicably seems more like that'd make him Fire Train, but what do I know?
Dude, not living up to his gimmick here, man.
I know.
But Scott Norton was staying true to form with his singlet that the straps are so far out that his total pecs and nipples are completely exposed.
Oh, he wanted to show off to those bikers, dude. That's a fashion statement for sure.
Yeah, and so the match I think it's all right. It's not long, but the main beat of the match, besides these are just two beefy dudes like throwing forearms at each other, is the ice train is still injured from grievous attacks from Scott Norton, and he's all taped up, and Norton's like, I'm gonna rip the tape off and fuck up your shoulder.
It happens super early too, and like the way he's got like fucking like winter soldier bandages where it like goes over his chest and part of his arm, and Norton like rips him down real early. So just for the rest of the match, Ice Train's bandages are just kind of like awkwardly hanging off of him as if it's like a sweater he's only put on halfway, and he from that moment just really plays into that "ow, my bandages slipped" trope.
Yeah, and it ends when Scott Norton does an arm bar and just like directly putting all of his weight on that shoulder, and that has to Ice Train has to tap out for the sake of his own health.
Yep.
So Scott Norton getting the big dub here.
Yep, heel number 1 win of the night. Wonder how many more we can rack up.
A lot. So then we get kind of the first bit of the show that like I was really kind of into was they give Ric Flair a backstage promo interview.
Yeah, it was really interesting the way they did it though, because it wasn't like your typical backstage promo. It was like, pre-recorded sort of thing, and it was him in the locker room, and the way he was talking, it felt more like authentic, like had more of a down-to-earth, less character-y feel, and he was doing like, can WCW and NWO coexist sort of thing, where he's like, one of us gotta go, and I'm the one who's got to take down Hogan, and yada yada. And Austin and I both kind of had the same thought at the same time. Like, it had the weirdly authentic feel to it, made it kind of cool. Making it like, again, doing that little thing where even though at this point we know this is kayfabe, like they're still trying to find little ways here and there to blur the line and make it feel a little bit more real, which I appreciate.
Yeah, and I think a big way they do that is that, like, we've done enough Ric Flair promos on this show that you even if you've never seen Ric Flair, you probably have a decent idea what he talks like. Woo, woo, baby. All these women all over me, woo!
Yeah,
and
woo!
And like he does none of that. He like talks in like a real normal cadence, and it's all very serious, and it gives off this impression that he's like, okay, enough of my usual bullshit here. Let's get serious for a second.
Yep.
And as for the content of the promo, David mentioned a lot of it uses some like, can WCW versus NWO coexist? It's a bit of a recap of what we've seen so far from that storyline. The thing that stood out to me was when he's talking about like how angry he was about the Arn Anderson attack. And he even has an interesting line of like, when this NWO thing first started, I thought me and the Horsemen, the NWO and the Horsemen, we could have coexisted. Until you attacked Arn Anderson.
Why are we so big on bringing Arn Anderson into this?
I think it's just a way. He's just like one of the victims of the backstage attack, and it kind of firmly establishes this group of heels as being also against a different group of heels. Like it's no longer just some vague idea of like, oh, we must protect WCW because that's the company that we've been repping for years, and that's where we work, and this is our place, and it's personal, like there's an individual vendetta here.
Yeah, it's I suppose so. They've already attacked so many people. It just feels funny to like zoom in on Arn specifically as like now this is personal.
I suppose.
I don't know. That's just me personally. But either way, it does give Flair a reason to like really kind of sit down and have that I'm taking this seriously now voice. So props for that. It was a really cool promo, and it does kind of hype you up for whatever the hell Ric Flair versus Hogan is going to turn out to look like.
Yeah, we'll get to that at the end.
Indeed.
Probably more of that. Next up, we get Medusa versus Bull Nakano in the Battle of the Bikes.
I actually got to say, after the Ric Flair promo, we get a advertisement. You had stepped away from this, but we get this advertisement for the Hog Wild official merch. And I gotta say, that jean jacket looks like hot couture, dude. Damn. Damn, it's a mystery to me why the NWO shirts survived and the Hog Wild jackets didn't.
Why are we not all repping Hog
Hog
Wild
Wild.
jean jackets in
It was, oh
2021?
man, it's so goofy. I loved it. But yes,
Mhm.
now we get Bull Nakano versus Medusa. And I love Bull Nakano so fucking much.
Yeah, Bull Nakano is sweet. First we get they come out on the motorcycles. Sort of.
Well, okay, Bull doesn't. Bull just walks out. She had
Nakano-
the good sense to not fucking humiliate herself by attempting to ride a motorcycle.
Now she makes Sonny Ono do it.
Yeah, which he's just kind of dicking around with it. Whatever.
It's painted with the Japanese flag on the motorcycle.
What's xenophobia? I haven't heard of that concept.
And then Medusa comes out with her red, white, and blue motorcycle and just kind of very carefully rides it down.
Oh yeah.
Now,
clearly,
to be fair, she rides the motorcycles in the WCW bit later, so she clearly knows how.
Yeah, but it's still very funny.
No, she's like dragging her feet on the ground to maneuver this motorcycle down the entranceway.
Which, like, it could have been, when I saw that she was biking in the later promo, I thought, okay, maybe she is an actual biker to some extent, and this is just like a safety precaution thing, but it's still really funny, because it does clearly kind of diminish the effect that they were kind of clearly going for.
No, they're trying to make it sound like both of these women are, like, real bikers, and there's something really on the line here, and, like, someone's going to get their motorcycle destroyed, and, like, neither of them look like real bikers.
Not remotely.
Anyway, and we get this match started. The ref has a comically large sledgehammer. Just he's holding on to it for when the winner will get to smash the motorcycle.
The loser's bike. Yup.
Yeah.
It's a quality match though.
Mm-hmm.
Bull Nakano especially is, of course, phenomenal. It's super fun to watch how she plays. I said this a lot the last time we watched her. Mm-hmm. She does a really good job, even if she doesn't speak the language very well, which, according to you, right, she didn't.
To my knowledge, she doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
But
it's really cool because that's the cool thing about wrestling. She's still really good at taking advantage of the medium, and she's a really good visual storyteller, I think. She's great at conveying emotion throughout the match. It helps, too, that she has one of those Sting-esque effects where her hair is gelled upward at the start of the match, and it, like, falls down as the match goes, kind of like you
part of that was the wind, I think. Like, the wind was catching her hair.
True, but it does add to that element of adding emotion to the match of we see the slow degradation of these people as they fight harder and harder. I think it adds something like Sting's makeup coming off has that same similar effect. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was really cool. And credit where credit is due, much as I'm, as always, annoyed by the aggressive jingoism of companies like this and characters like Medusa. Medusa put up a pretty good match too. There was this moment I thought was really cool where she was under Bull. She had fallen on her back to the floor, and Bull's getting up to slam her in some form or other, and Medusa does this fucking like backwards like kind of crab walk up onto her like hands and feet, and then gets herself up that way. And it was a really cool moment that I haven't seen a whole lot of in matches. So I thought that was a moment that really stuck out to me and was like, okay, Medusa, you're cool in my book, much as your shtick is annoying me.
Yeah, Medusa and Bull Nakano are both fantastic wrestlers. Mm-hmm. Not ahead of their time by American standards, certainly. And I must have missed how this ended. I think I was looking away from my screen for the time, but I did not fully catch how this match ended.
It ended in a DQ because it was either an interference DQ or it was a count-out DQ. I can't remember. I
think it'd be DQ from Sonny Ono interfering.
It had to have been, because I distinctly do not recall being a count out, and I cannot think of any other reason that there would have they would have DQ'd this match.
For once, I appreciate WWE's penchant to show replays of everything. So I could have better seen what happened. But inevitably it ends with Medusa the winner and Sonny Ono deciding to be like, screw the rules. I have the sledgehammer. And he tries to attack Medusa's bike and the rest like, hey, give that back. Hold on.
That might have been what got the DQ in the first place, honestly.
Okay.
Let me look this up real quick because this is gonna bother me. Medusa, Bull Nakano, Hog Wild.
I'll just continue explaining what happened from there. Is they got the motorcycle? Is he got the sledgehammer? He tries to destroy Medusa's bike, and it doesn't really work. And then eventually Medusa gets the sledgehammer, and she gets her rightful winner, attacking Bull Nakano's motorcycle and failing completely. I don't know what the issue was necessarily, whether it was the sledgehammer, just like, I don't know if it was because Medusa couldn't swing it hard enough, or the motorcycle, apparently you can't just smash motorcycle with a sledgehammer, or she was not attacking the right points. But she basically was not damaging this thing at all. Like, she was she knocks off like one panel at one point. On the side.
No, this is how it ended. Is Bull thought she got a 3 count on Medusa, but it was actually a 2 count, and so she and Sonny Ono just start prematurely celebrating, and she walks out of the ring and gets counted out. Okay, that's what it was. I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt.
Womp.
It's such a dumb way to end this match, too. Like, why the fuck are we playing it like this?
That's because I guess Bull Nakano doesn't want to do the job, brother.
But that's the thing. They play it like she thinks she got the 3 count, but they don't do it. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't we having this be a clean win, and why are we making the loss like this? It's so dumb.
Anyway, back to again, Medusa can't destroy the motorcycle.
Oh no, it's hysterical.
The whole effect is kind of ruined.
So hard. She successfully smashes the light on it, sure, but then she just can't get a fucking good.
She is banging so hard on the front glass of the motorcycle, and that thing ain't denting. That thing ain't breaking at all.
It was really funny too, because I was thinking when I saw Sonny Ono try to take the sledgehammer to the bike that this was building heel heat, because how dare you destroy a perfectly good bike like that. But then Medusa does the same shit. Instead of the crowd going feral and being like, hey, fuck you, why would you destroy a bike like that? They're super into it, probably because it has the Japanese flag on it, which, oh man, is that a portent of things to come.
Next match.
We're almost there. Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah, so eventually Medusa just tips the fucking bike over.
She tips it a couple more times and is like, fuck this.
We're done. So a bit of a good match with a bit of a wet fart of a way to end.
Yeah. Fun overall though. I enjoyed most of it, but
that
ending was still oh man.
Here we go. But first, before the match, we get one more plug. The WCW CompuServe plug, which David is we get that CompuServe is the service where like you could IM wrestlers and during the show and talk to them, and they got the Steiners back there and they look like they've never seen a computer before and they don't know how it works. They're just both like tap poking buttons at a time, and fucking Rick Steiner is like making airplane noises. He's going I don't know if he thinks he's like doing an airplane. I don't know if he thinks he's growling like a dog. I don't know what he's doing. He's
just typing the fuck away. His hands are going nuts. It's like smashing the keyboard.
But it was pretty funny. There are some funny WWF ones of the that look similarly stupid of this as well in the 90s. This was they were really trying to catch on that new internet technology.
Yeah. Yup. It was a fucking great moment, I think. I love that image of like dumb beefy boys trying to computer. I will say probably an accurate representation of how like cool and functional that service was in practice.
Yeah. Then there was a 30-minute Chris Benoit versus Dean Malenko match. Benoit wins, and that's all we know about.
That's it. Nope. Don't know anything.
Now here at the glorious hour 15 minutes into the show.
Oh yeah,
we get Harlem Heat versus the Steiner brothers for the WCW Tag Team Championships.
Now, dear viewers, dear listeners, we need you to understand something. Is that up until this point in the show, the crowd's like they're all right. They're having an okay time, but it's not like,
really that loud. But
yeah, they're not super nuts right now. They're just kind of vibing. When Medusa went to destroy Nakano's bike, that got a bit more of a pop, and it's like, interesting. Thought they wouldn't be into that. But oh boy, does the crowd pop off for this one. Oh boy. So Steiner's come out first, right?
Right, yeah, because they're the challengers. They come out first. And the crowd's like, oh yeah, Steiner's. And then the champions, Harlem Heat, comes out. And as a reminder to you all, Harlem Heat are black.
Yep.
And holy shit.
Oh my God, that crowd did not like them very much.
Hard.
They flipped their lids booing the Harlem Heat. And I'm just sitting, I see this. And here's the thing too, because this is just between how this played out and between kind of Austin's and my knockoutish versus noobishness ways of viewing this, it was just a beautiful moment because I've seen the crowd pop off disproportionately against the Harlem Heat. And I'm sitting here thinking, I wonder why this crowd of mostly white bikers in South Carolina are booing the South Dakota. Jesus, even worse. In South Dakota are booing the two distinguished black gentlemen that make up the tag team Harlem Heat. And I voiced that to Austin, and Austin tells me, oh yeah, no, this match is infamous for how deeply racist the crowd is toward the Harlem Heat.
I'll say from my perspective of it is you hear this kind of thing. I've heard this story before, but I've never watched this match before. And so I go into it with that idea in mind, but like, I'll be honest, like I was afraid that maybe it was overblown. Maybe I'll come off like a big old filthy SJW for bringing this up on this show. But holy shit.
Oh, no.
They were racing. They were really going hard at the Harlem Heat. This was so bad. So they're booing real hard. I mentioned earlier they rev their motorcycles constantly. Holy shit. They were revving them bikes out there on the show.
The fucking Booker T would breathe and it'd be...
Okay. Listen, a couple of people threw up Confederate flags in the crowd when the Harlem Heat was on.
We were watching. There was a fucking dude in like the back left corner throws up a Confederate flag whenever the camera panned to them. It was like, what the fuck?
I was like, man, this is not subtle. There's no other way to interpret this.
And
the crowd. This is the most animated the crowd gets the entire show.
Okay, I wouldn't go that far, but it's up there. It's up there with the grudge match and the main event, certainly, and it's disproportionate as shit. And boy, I wonder why.
Moses, the Steiners have never been more popular for the crowd than this match. Anytime the Steiners did anything, this crowd was all in.
They were so happy to watch the Steiners just be like, just hurt the Harlem Heat. But oh no, the Harlem Heat gets the dub and the crowd ain't too pleased about that.
Yeah, the crowd, after this Harlem Heat win, the crowd start throwing trash in the ring.
Yeah! Which keep in mind, dear viewers, we
talked about this a couple episodes ago with like how big a deal it was when Hogan turned fucking heel for the first time in a decade. People threw trash at him.
Yeah,
they're doing this.
Hogan being the third man was the first time in the entire over 40 episodes of this show we've done where we've seen the crowd throw trash in the ring because they were just that pissed off. Because of course, Hulk Hogan has turned heel.
That's a big deal.
And everyone's like disgusted by this fact. So of course they're gonna like chuck trash in the ring. No, we're just casually throwing trash because Harlem Heat beat fucking
the Steiner brothers.
No.
Yeah. And a quick shout out to the Harlem Heat managers here is like poor Robert Parker. I know he dresses like a plantation owner, but man, dude did not seem like he knew what to do with this reaction.
He looked like a deer in the headlights. Sherry was just kind of there. Shout out to Sherry. If we're talking about hot couture, shout out to Sherry's fucking like pantsuit with a back window.
Yes, she comes out with this pantsuit,
and you see it from the front.
Entire back window.
And you see it from the front for most time. I was like, okay, Sherry's wearing a back suit. Or a pantsuit, sure. And then, like, toward the end, she fucking turns around and I'm like, there's a giant ass hole in it. Why?
Well, I noticed it when Booker T was jaw-jacking at the crowd and made it seem like he was going to go fight somebody in the crowd, and Sherry pulled him back.
Oh, no. It was so good. Okay, the match was great, but the deep racism of the crowd was just fucking disturbing.
It was absolutely. Oh. And, like, naturally, these wrestlers are professionals, pal, which means that Harlem Heat, Booker T especially, made sure to rile the crowd up some more.
Oh my god! And the Steiners leaned in too. God damn it!
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the match itself was really fun.
It was a fun one.
Harlem Heat and the Steiners got great chemistry with each other. Their matches are always hard hitting, fun wrestling affairs. But like, it's so hard to remember almost anything that happens in this match because vroom, 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 boo.
Oh god, it's so funny, but it's so fucking horrible.
Yeah. So as we mentioned, Harlem Heat wins because of some insane cheating shenanigans, like I mentioned in the front half. So what happens is they got I think Scott Steiner was in the corner. They got him in the corner. Robert Parker tries to throw white powder, I think it's like baby powder, in Steiner's face. He misses it. Steiner ducks, and he hits Booker T in the face with the powder. But then Sherry Martel pops up. She has powder, and then she hits Steiner, and then that leads to Booker T getting the pin.
I know. They botched the powders. They just do it again. They're like, yeah, let's give it a second.
Yeah, whatever. As long as we win.
Is it bad? This is the match I kind of have the most to say.
No, because it's absolutely one of like the most significantly remembered matches on this show. The other one is probably Benoit and Malenko, both for being that good and also because the crowd gave literally zero shits about it.
The fact that those are the most remembered matches on this show, it hurts. We really keep doing these angles that just kind of end on like vaguely disappointing notes.
Well, I will say that the moment at the end of the main event, which we'll get to, is probably the most famous thing out of this show because that thing carries over for the next couple of years.
Oh, okay, fair.
But like in terms of like the matches that happen on this show, it's the Benoit and Malenko put on a classic in front of dead silence, and the crowd got really, really mad at Harlem Heat.
Yeah, it makes it even funnier that the fucking Benoit and Malenko match, which was, I'm sure, technically very phenomenal, just got met with zero popping whatsoever.
Yeah, this is not a Sturgis. This crowd does not appreciate the finer points of technical professional wrestling.
Or maybe they're all just psychics who knew what would end up happening with Benoit. Who knows? Anyway.
It's probably the former, to be honest.
Probably the former, but you never know.
Yeah, so Harlem Heat get the win. What a shit show.
Yep. Christ.
I'm glad I can say that I've seen it.
Yeah, it certainly feels like a big part of wrestling history.
Yeah. Anywho, it's absolutely one of the probably two or three most famous things that ever happened on this pay-per-view. Like this series, the Hog Wild shows. Probably up there with like the Jay Leno match, and I think yes, Jay Leno gets in a match. We're not getting there tonight.
Thank you.
It happens out at the fucking Hog Wild, and I think when Karl Malone gets in the ring, like the basketball player, I'm pretty sure this was also Hog
keep
Wild.
Dragging randos into the wrestling ring. Why not? Whatever.
Dennis Rodman wrestled that match too.
Of course.
Anywho, moving on to Hog Wild 96.
Yeah, back to the main event, baby.
Back to that. This is when we get the moment that, like, I told David I was super excited to watch, because as a reminder, is like I time through all these shows before we get to watch them, so I know what we're going to skip and what we're not. So when I put this down on the time card, I was very excited to get to watch it in full. It is the WCW at Sturgis video package. Where they start at the Mall of America in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and all the WCW wrestlers and Eric Bischoff pile onto their motorcycles, and they fucking motorcycle to Sturgis.
It's so stupid.
It's so silly. It looks like every motorcycle riding shot that has ever existed in a movie.
And literally, they just combine every single possible cinematography you can do with a motorcycle and just fucking chuck it into this product.
Oh yeah, and everyone's got the finest styles. A bunch of them are either wearing jean jackets or are just shirtless, riding their motorcycles down the highway.
Yep. It's
Bischoff looking so cool.
Faces, by the way, it's only faces. So I guess all the heels drive a van or something.
There was a couple of heels because you have Mongo McMichael, who's part of the Horsemen. Yeah, dude, Mongo. Not only was he in the denim, he dressed up his dog Pepe in the denim, and they showed Pepe on camera.
Oh my god! Yeah,
but
this really. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You got Sting, they had the Steiners, they had Mongo McMichael, there was Bischoff. I mean, there was more, but I don't remember them. But Big Bubba Rogers, who was also a heel, he was there.
The fact that
it was all the motorcycle enthusiasts.
But it's the fact that Bischoff was leading the pack just proves what a fucking Adam Sandler tier vanity trip this was. Yeah, let's have a pay-per-view at the home of my big other hobby, and let's not demand a single fucking penny of extra restitution, even though that's a financially ruinous decision to make when it comes to running a pay-per-view like this. Jesus Christ, you moron!
Good times were had. I should listen to Eric Bischoff's podcast and see if he answers that question. Except I don't wanna, because Eric Bischoff is an expert at not taking credit for anything he could be construed as being wrong about. So I kind of don't want to listen to him about it.
That sounds about right.
Anyway, the next match is Ric Flair versus Eddie Guerrero for the U.S. title. I'll be honest, kind of big surprise that I kind of expected the crowd to be more into Ric Flair as hey, we know who that guy is. But they in the same way they are like that with Hogan later, but they kind of just don't really react to him.
I get the feeling this isn't a crowd of particular wrestling enthusiasts. They just have broad cultural osmosis knowledge of what's going on.
Yeah, it seems that way based on what they react to.
Yeah.
Which is to say, in terms of outside of racial divide, it's pretty much just Hogan.
Nothing. It's and Hogan at the end. Flair versus Guerrero. It's a pretty good match. I don't got much to say about this one, but it is cool to see these two titans meet in ring because they're both
they're really good wrestlers.
And they're both
good wrestlers. It's getting to see Eddie Guerrero pre-prime and Ric Flair at the end of his prime. Yeah, Eddie Guerrero. This is a couple of years before his prime. Eddie Guerrero, sure. Unless you want to argue his prime is when he was WWE champion, in which case he kind of just died in his prime. So kind of up to you. But either way, this is before Eddie Guerrero becomes a big star. Yep. So it's pretty neat. I made this joke with David. I laughed. Is it when Flair comes out with Woman and Miss Elizabeth, he has them like turn around to show their rears.
Oh yeah.
But Woman's outfit involves her wearing like a large like jacket, like
with coattails,
which looks sweet. But so like when she turns around, the coattails are covering her ass, so she's not really showing anything.
You know what? I appreciate it. Any little bouts of dignity we can get for Woman and or Miss Elizabeth are hugely appreciated in my book.
Yeah, Elizabeth is just wearing like a straight up leather dress.
I mean, it's heel Elizabeth. It's about what you'd expect.
Yeah, but anyway, the match is pretty good. It ends with something it's pretty cool to me because I've never really seen the spot work this way. So, Ric Flair had Eddie Guerrero in the figure 4, and while they did that, Woman ran over and grabbed Ric Flair's arms and pulled him down and to keep him locked in, and so that allowed him to basically get a pin on Eddie Guerrero.
It was a really cool moment. And kind of zooming out a little bit, something else I got a kick out of in this, and from what you told me is just kind of his general style. Ric Flair's like really playing kind of like Three Stooges-y in this match. Like he like knees Eddie Guerrero in the crotch and then like pokes him in the eyes. Like
no, it goes the other way around. He does a bit where he like does like an eye poke 1, 2, 3 times in a row and then kicks him in the balls.
PG-13 Three Stooges. I did appreciate that moment. It was a fun one.
David also got some Flair flopping, which I guess he'd never really noticed before. When Ric Flair he got hit in the corner by Eddie, and he stumbles around back to the middle of the ring, and then falls. And
then he fucking it's an easy 15-second delay. He just it looks like he's stable, then he just that man is a cartoon character.
He is.
Oh man, the Pepe Le Pew of WCW.
Good times were had. But Ric Flair wins. Woohoo! Yep. He is still the champ. Then we get the interview with Mean Gene Okerlund, the only interview he gets to conduct tonight, actually, with Jimmy Hart and the Giant.
Yeah, and the Giant is Hulk Hogan ruined my childhood posting.
Which excuse you, I looked this up. Paul White, the Giant, was born in 1972. If we decide to be charitable and say that he got on the Hulkamania train as soon as Hulk Hogan became the WWF champion, he would have been 12 years old. Hulk Hogan's peak, he was a preteen to teenager.
Yep. No, Hulk Hogan was a huge childhood influence on me, and I can't believe that he's betrayed me like that. When you told those kids to shove it, you were telling that to me.
Yeah.
Giant is the point is Giant is real mad, and we're not going to pay too much attention to the logistics of like how old he actually was when to like get influenced by Hulk Hogan.
Like, listen, according to R-Truth, John Cena is one of his childhood idols. So
okay. To be fair though, at least with R-Truth, you can see that being a purposefully ridiculous statement because every single fucking thing R-Truth does is purposefully deeply ridiculous.
Yeah.
Except for that one time they decided to pair him up with The Miz and take him way too seriously. Grumble. We're not here to rant about Summer of Punk anymore.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. The point is that Giant's real mad. And he's definitely going to kick Hulk Hogan's ass tonight.
Yep. The title will safely stay around his waist. I'm feeling very confident.
It's really wild. Like we've talked about this before, but it is wild to see like guys who were just such huge heels become de facto faces against the NWO.
Yeah, that's 100% what the Giant did because the Dungeon of Doom is still...
Flair too.
Yeah, Flair. The Dungeon is still heels. The Dungeon of Doom are still technically heels. The Giant is still doing everything he did as a heel, but because he's fighting the evil Hollywood Hulk Hogan, he's the babyface now.
Yeah, this is one of those like the heroes and the villains encounter something even greater a threat than them, so they all have to come together, brother.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then we get our semi-main. By now, the sun has completely went down. Sun was gone down a lot during Flair and Eddie.
Mhm.
And by the time the Outsiders and Sting and Luger start, yeah, it is complete. It is dark. The sun is set. It is dark in Sturgis, and it's a really cool contrast, by the way.
Yeah. It's perfect timing too. Like again, kind of what I was saying with the full moon in the Disney episode was you can't pay for this kind of production value. It's so like perfect that the sun was fully down for the final two like big matches of the night, the NWO matches. Thing
When the NWO arrived, darkness fell when the NWO came out.
Yeah. But yeah, we get the entrances of the NWO, entrances of Sting and Luger, and it's a pretty darn good match between the four of them. There's not like it. I was expecting like in some form or other more shenanigans than we ended up getting. But
it goes pretty straightforward. But then again, I suppose maybe they didn't need more shenanigans because they had the ref on their side. So let's go ahead and talk about the shenanigan of the match. About at the end of the match, before we zoom back out and talk more, is that we get Hall, Scott Hall, and Lex Luger are in the ring. Kevin Nash and Sting are on the outside. And they set up this cool double visual where they put Sting and Nash facing the hard cam, and Sting has got Nash in the Scorpion Death Drop. Not Scorpion Deathlock, excuse me.
Yep.
And Lex Luger's trying to get Scott Hall in the torture rack.
Yep. Yeah, and it's really cool too because the way it's set up is they're both dead center, one directly above the other, one in ring, one on the floor, and it's just this great kind of visual that brings this whole grudge match together. I really liked that. Just that little moment was a really cool thing to look at.
Yeah, but then in trying to get Hall up in the torture rack, he accidentally knocks over the referee, Nick Patrick, who spends the rest of the match feigning an eye injury he can barely see. And then what he ends up doing is, while he can barely see, he falls down, he forearms Lex Luger in the thigh.
Oh my God.
And then that knocks Luger over, and Hall gets the pin, and Nick Patrick goes 1, 2, 3. A little bit quicker, a little fast.
Yeah.
Than usual, you might say.
It was funny too because like at the beginning of the match, like it looks like Nick Patrick is not fucking around. Like he is not letting anyone get away with anything. He's making sure the tags are clean between both teams. And then all of a sudden he's playing partial judge. So I guess Nick Patrick is in the pocket of the NW. Maybe Nick Patrick is the fourth man.
Whoa!
Oh
yeah. I suppose I don't think it's worth trying to preserve the spoilers of this aspect of it. But yes, we're about to do a very long form storyline on Nick Patrick being in the NWO's pocket.
Wait, Nick Patrick is the fourth man? That's the reveal?
No, he's not the fourth man,
okay.
but he is a crooked referee. A little like the Danny Davis.
Hey, so many fucking parallels.
And to be honest, I had no idea that they planted the seeds for the Nick Patrick heel turn this early.
I gotta say, I didn't even notice until you were talking about it like this. I thought it was legit, like he got his eyes accidentally hurt, and he was just selling the fuck out of it. I didn't notice the fact that he was like using it to be in favor of the NWO.
Well, that's the thing, is if for this match he's playing, plausible deniability. That he was hurt. He could barely see.
Yeah,
he didn't know that Lex Luger's leg was there for him to forearm.
Yep. Yeah, no. So they play. I guess they play it off well because you have the foresight to know that this is the beginning of a thing. So the fact that they kept it shielded, I think, is a cool little touch, and the fact that they'll play long form with it. Okay, sure, I'll grant that.
But the Outsiders get the win this way.
Yeah. Also a note. While on commentary, I
forgot. I almost forgot about this.
Brain is letting his mask slip a little bit because he keeps like accidentally rooting for the Outsiders, and Dusty Rhodes is like, "Hey, yo, what are you doing over there?"
Hey, what there? Are you the fourth man? Are you trading?
They say you can't trust anyone. Can we trust you?
Yeah. But he'll do thing like when Sting and Hall were both kind of like trying to run for the tag. He'd be like, Hall's really got to get a tag here. I mean, Sting. I mean,
There's a great moment where like Hall pulls. I can't remember. I think it was Hall pulls Luger to the corner, and Brain yells out, "Come on, Hall!" And I think Shivani calls him out. And he's like, "Oh,
what did you
say? I mean, come on, like, come on, don't do that."
Yeah, like. Heenan tries really hard to act like he's not in for Hall and Nash.
He can't help but go in for the heel, which is ultimate disappointment for me, which means he's ultimately going to be pulling for Hulk Hogan. He's betraying his principles, and I don't like it.
Like, it's a very interesting idea, is that he is the consummate loves all the heels, and like but you get the heels that are trying to destroy the company he works for, first of all. Yep. And the heel is the man he spent 15 years saying is a liar and a cheat.
Yep. So now he is a liar and a cheat, and he's totally here for it.
Yeah. So
I'm starting to think his defenses of Andre the Giant leading up to WrestleMania 2 weren't that sincere.
Now, hold on.
Are
you suggesting that Bobby the Brain Heenan is anything but sincere?
No, I wouldn't dare fully accuse Commentator Daddy of such a horrendous thing, but it is starting to concern me a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think it makes for an interesting kind of character dynamic because it asks for character consistency and a seeming two sides that are seemingly incompatible. But I like the idea, at least, of I think it'd be great if Heenan still cheered the NWO, but not Hogan. Like Hogan specifically, he still hates that guy.
Damn, I wish. One can hope, right?
We'll have to see, won't we? How they play it. But it's fun for this match, as you say, it's as if his mask is falling off and Heenan can't help but go back to cheering for the bad guys.
Yeah.
And
it's really funny to watch.
He spent too long trying to cheer for Sting, and it's messing up his head.
Yeah. He's like, I can't do this anymore, man.
I can't be on his side.
He's starting to twitch. He needs his fix.
Yeah. So the Outsiders get the dub, and then we get to our main event. Yeah, heel wins tonight. Let me count this up a little bit here.
Except for Medusa.
Let's see. Mysterio won. He's a babyface.
Okay, Mysterio.
Norton won. He's a heel. Medusa won. She's the face. Benoit and Malenko are both kind of heels. So Benoit won.
So two heel win or two face wins for the entire pay-per-view. Woof.
Yeah, because then Steiner's win. Harlem Heat win. They're the heels.
Yep.
Flair wins. He's the heel. Outsiders win. They're the heels.
And then
our main event, which Bruce Buffer really going hard tonight with his intro. His
real name's or his stage name is Bruce. I looked him up because I'm like, shit, it's this guy, and I want to remember what his name is. Bruce Buffer. Because his real name is Michael apparently. But yeah, Bruce Buffer. Pardon me.
No, it is Michael. Oh, it is Michael Buffer then. Who's Bruce Buffer? Michael Buffer. That's it.
Michael Buffer is back. He's back, baby, and because of course the big match is happening, so we got to get him to announce, and it is kind of a cool.
Oh, there is also an announcer named Bruce Buffer. That's my confusion. Is that he is the half brother of Michael Buffer, and they're both fight announcers.
As you do.
So that explains my confusion. And Michael Buffer though is the one who does WCW shows.
Makes sense.
Continue.
But yeah, so kind of a cool little bookend that we got Buffer there for the Bash at the Beach match that ended up being the reveal of Hulk Hogan as the third man, and now we're here for the culmination of this first part of the story where Hogan is facing off for the title against Giant. So let's get ready to rumble.
That'll be we now owe Michael Buffer Buffer copyright.
See, here's the thing I have to admit to is the way I looked him up was I followed a realization I had, and I looked up the fucking Dumbo remake from Disney because
he goes, let's get ready for Dumbo.
And I was thinking, wait,
guy.
Is that actually him? Please don't tell me. And it was actually him.
That is Michael Buffer.
So I now just can't unhear. Let's get ready for Dumbo. Anyway,
we are not here to talk about bad Disney live action movies.
No, we're here to talk about
spin-off.
Bad wrestling.
Yes. He does his bit. I made fun of him because he does for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching at home. This is on pay-per-view, Michael. A million people did not order this show.
If a million people ordered this show, WCW would have been in much better financial straits.
Mm-hmm. So, we have the main event. Hulk Hogan comes out first. I liked Buffer being like, he once stood for all that is good and righteous, but now he is the man in the lead of the NWO, the New World Order of Wrestling.
Yeah.
And then here comes the Giant. Oh, we should talk about Hulk Hogan's attire for a second.
Oh, yeah. He's gone full Hollywood Hulk.
Yeah, so he's got the Hollywood bandana on. He's all black. And his T-shirt, it says NWO on the front, not in the logo. He has a Terminator on the front. And on the back, it says, if you think I'm bad, you ain't... wait, what does it say again?
Okay, it's like, if you haven't seen bad yet, but it's coming, or something like that.
You haven't seen bad yet, but it's coming.
Which is so stupid. Also, Austin noted a little bit of stubble on the chin. He's working toward his skunk beard.
His skunk beard is coming in. His 5 o'clock shadow coming in here. Then the Giant comes out, and then the match starts. And
while we're talking about the entrances, again, shout out to the fact that Hogan gets way more of a pop than the Giant does. The audience is like super into seeing Hogan, and the audience like sees the Giant. They're like, "Who the fuck are you?" Yeah,
the audience, the crowd at Sturgis cheered Hogan the whole time.
The crowd at Sturgis confuses the shit out of me because we were talking about the fact that the Hollywood Hulk shorthand is like, oh, he's sold out. That's why he's Hollywood Hulk now. And so, he's no longer the friend of the working class. Everybody boo this man. But they're just like happy to see him again because there's cultural osmosis, I guess, that tells him he's cool. But at the end, skipping to the end for a second, spoiler alert, Hogan wins. Surprise, surprise. They throw trash in the ring again. So what fucking side are you on, audience?
It's as if they didn't know Hogan was heel yet, and so they think this is the heel turn.
Oh, they're like, hey, wait a minute. Maybe that's it. That might be it. But oh god, whatever. It's weird. But yeah, we get to the match, and I'm just gonna say it. This match kind of makes Hogan look like a bitch.
Yep. I got a quote. To describe this match, I'm gonna quote a musical classic from Foghat.
Okay.
Slow ride.
Yup.
Take it easy.
Okay, I'm glad you validated that. Because I was thinking that, and this is one of those times where I'm trying to catch my own noobishness and be like, I don't find this match particularly exciting, but it does have a lot of, like, holds and attempts at submission, so maybe this is just me trying to, like, me not having visceral feelings about the thing and confusing that for this isn't a good match and this is a slow match or whatever. But the fact that you agree with that makes me feel a lot better about my feelings about this.
Yeah. I would hate to come across like a filthy modern fan who's all about the work rate and can't like any match without 70 flips in it. But God, this match was slow and boring.
Well, because I was thinking about it, and I feel like there's a way you can do this match in this similar way that's more gripping, but you need Hogan to fucking sell better and not like a complete goofball.
Yeah,
Giant does a good job on his end, but you need something to make it feel more engaging, and they never really achieve that. They don't play the storytelling well enough to justify how slow this match moves.
Now, this is a match that never gets out of first gear.
No, and it starts off with Hogan like basically attempting to bail on the match, and he starts getting counted. Like he walks out of the ring. He like starts to walk down the ramp back toward the entrance.
He does you know what? Screw this match thing. And it's like, one, the match just started, bro.
Yeah.
Two, but this is a world title match. Why are you
this
doing
is supposed to be your big moment, and this is the thing you're taunting about, like, oh yeah, I have a match with the Giant coming up. And he's supposed to be like, no big deal for you, whatever. But he seems kind of like he doesn't fucking want to be there. And he starts getting counted out. Then he randomly decides to rejoin the match, and he starts to run back to the ring, but then he kind of stops and makes it a walk.
Yeah, he makes it look like he's trying to sneak back into the ring, but it doesn't work, and so it just
because the Giant is clearly facing him the whole goddamn time, so it makes Hogan come across as goddamn incompetent.
Right, and then if we have a few bits where it's like Hogan does a move, the Giant counters the move, and then Hogan runs out of the ring.
Yeah, he catches it, reverses it, drops him, and then Hogan just leaves the ring again.
Yeah.
Why?
We do this for a while.
Like they could do it as Hogan's playing the long game, but they don't fucking build up to that in any meaningful capacity.
No,
they could
not
do
really.
it. They could do it as Hogan playing it as a taunting move against the Giant, but they don't play it that way. It just feels like he's disinterested and scared to actually face the guy, and it's like, why are you acting like such a little bitch? You're supposed to be big, scary heel Hogan now.
They play it like what is the stereotypical cowardly heel way to wrestle.
But you can't do that with this match. That you can't.
And you should probably, I feel like you probably don't need to do that with Hulk Hogan. Because,
you especially can't and don't need to do that with Hulk Hogan.
But anyway, eventually the match all kind of gets started, and they do a good old-fashioned test of strength spot.
Yeah, and it's a good 2-3 minutes of just Hogan having Giant on his knees, and they just kind of stay there, and it's like,
yeah, okay. I made fun of this one with David, but it's like, a lot of the test of strength is great because then you don't even have to do anything to make it to pretend like something's happening. It's if you notice, is when they do stuff like a headlock or a submission move, a lot of the way they sell it is to act like movement is happening as a way to compensate for the fact that nothing is dangerous is happening right now.
Yeah.
Test strength, they don't even do that. None of them are shaking or they don't act like they're exerting any energy for this.
Yeah.
It's like they're just holding hands.
Yeah, even Giant looks bored.
Yeah, and eventually Hogan, they reverse it, and Hogan and Giant gets Hogan down on his knees. Yeah. It's not very interesting.
It's not great. I was looking forward to this match, and it's just a giant fucking letdown.
And then I don't remember if they did anything between this and the ending stuff, then it blanked from my mind.
Yeah,
so that says a lot.
There's nothing to stand out here. What a fucking disappointment.
But eventually, the match, the moment it starts getting a little bit exciting is when Hogan has got Giant on his knees, and he starts punching him. And the Giant, I keep wanting to call him Andre.
No.
The Giant, he starts hulking up like Hogan used to do. He's doing the shaking thing.
That was cool.
That was cool. And he does the finger point, you, and Hogan's like, whoa, man.
Yeah. He plays
going through the bits. He's doing the Hogan bits.
Yeah, that's a cool moment. We should have had more of that in this. We should have gotten so much more of a culmination of what this was supposed to represent of Hogan is solidified heel. Let's throw everything he used to be in his face and watch him unrepentantly stare coldly at it and still drop you in his evil way anyway. But they reserve it to this one thing, and it's a great moment, and it does sell the whole Giant being Hogan was a childhood hero and in heaviest fucking air quotes possible of mine. It sells it pretty well, and we do get a great moment of him hulking up, and he comes for Hogan, and but like that's the most of this we get.
Yeah, that's the most interesting part. So
it's great, but it's disappointing that
Mhm.
that's like the maximum of that.
Yeah. So he hits the big boot, the Hogan big boot onto Hogan. And as he's setting him up for the choke slam to end this, here comes Hall and Nash.
Although
to do some shenanigans.
They do kind of a cool thing where Hall comes into the ring first, Giant turns around, catches him, choke slams. Kevin Nash then comes up while Giant's trying to put Hall down, and does the slowest creep up on the Giant ever, having stolen Jimmy Hart's megaphone, is gonna like clobber him over the head.
Yeah, I appreciate this. I appreciate the like fake out of how that was going to play out before we got to the real bit, but also, Nash could not have possibly moved slower to get into the ring and try to attack the Giant.
Yep.
But then Giant chokeslams him, and then Hogan runs in with the world title belt, hits the Giant in the face.
Which, man,
reminder, that's all he does.
Yeah, not a very convincing hit, by the way. It doesn't look that hard. Clearly,
and then he pinned. There. Yeah. He pins the Giant, and Hogan is the world champion.
Yeah, foregone conclusion. Yay.
Yeah. And then, but don't worry, there's still like 10 minutes left on this show.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So let's get to the big ending bit. So first, out comes the Booty Man.
Wearing a fucking NWO shirt. And
he wears the exact same shirt that Hogan had. He has the same shirt that Hogan had.
Exact same. And there's a birthday cake that's being carried by like 2 pages.
This is a good thing I brought up the Hulk Hogan mentioning his birthday bit from the Nitro, because that was the callback to that. But yeah, like David is losing his goddamn mind at the thought that the Booty Man is the 4th man.
Oh, I still have a bit of a rant about this, but let's go on.
Let's finish out the segment.
I'll do it in the wrap up. Yeah.
Okay, so. He gets in the ring. They got this birthday cake, a comically large candle, or what we think is a candle anyway. They stick it in the cake. And they get in the ring, and the Booty Man starts being like congratulating Hogan and talking about Hogan has been his best friend for 22 years, man. And just good NWO, man. Like the Booty Man's all in on this shit. And meanwhile, Nash is like, keeps placing the cake all over the place as if he's setting up for a bit with the cake.
Yep.
That they never do. Spoiler warning for this segment. But anyway. And eventually Hogan takes the microphone and he mentions that he's got a match with Ric Flair upcoming. And he wants to make a point. And he's like, Flair, you let your card, you showed your hand. You showed your cards tonight, Flair. Because you revealed that you care about Arn, that you got a weakness, brother, and you mix business with friendship, with personal and business is the distinction he makes.
Yep.
And he's like, we here at the NWO, this is business. And
get
him, boys, and he has Nash put Booty Man in a full Nelson. And Hall and Hogan beat the shit out of him.
Yep.
It's all a fake out as a way to Hogan, and Hogan makes the explicit call out of like, he was my best friend for 22 years. He says how he's been hanging. He's hanging with the Booty Man. As I mentioned to David, he also been banging
with the Booty Man. True.
Because he said in a promo once that with the Booty Man they've been clanging and banging in a promo, which was referring exclusively to working out together. But of course, people make the jokes about the double entendre in banging.
Hey, you know what? If it worked on Hulk Rules, it works here.
Anyway, he's like, he's been my friend for 22 years, but this is business. And if I'm willing to do that to my best friend, what do you think I'm going to do to you, Ric Flair?
Yeah, good point, I guess. Thanks, Hulk. I got to say, that promo he cut to was kind of meandering.
It was.
Didn't have the same impact as his "you people" speech at Bash at the Beach. I keep wanting.
Yeah, I like the idea of it though.
Yeah,
and then
I like it in theory. The execution could have been better.
And then we get Nash takes out the comically large candle and they rip the wrapping paper off, and it's actually a can of spray paint. And then we get the iconic moment.
Yup.
Nash holds up the World Heavyweight Championship belt, and Hollywood Hulk Hogan takes the spray paint can and spray paints NWO all over the title.
I gotta say, it's a really sick visual. As much as I'm bitching about these last few parts, God, that moment is cool. Every now and again, the NWO storyline has these glimpses of absolute subversive brilliance. I just wish it were stronger. I wish the whole was as strong as the sum of its parts.
Yeah,
but
this,
oh my
this
God,
is a really cool moment. Absolute, it's awesome. Like
it was, yeah, it's so cool. Again, we know at this point it's kayfabe. We know this is all scripted. We know it's all part of the show. It's gone is any doubt that this is at all remotely. The line is not drawn very, very vaguely anymore. But that's still, like, you don't do that to a title belt.
No.
And the fact that they did, the fact that they went there is wild, and it is cool. As much as you can kind of be like, oh, look, it's got 90s extreme, like, it works. It should look, it does. It should be hokey, but yeah, that moment works incredibly well.
Yep, and
oh God,
it feels so disgustingly disrespectful to WCW, and
I know,
as if it's this great shot in the war between NWO and WCW, as Hogan took the belt and then he defaced the belt.
Oh my God, that you put it brilliantly. That's exactly it. It's the war in some ways is won. The takeover has happened. NWO are the new kings of WCW. Long live the kings.
Can WCW fight back and take back what was once theirs?
Well, I got bad news for the WCW on a lot of levels.
Yep.
Also, side note, the Giant is fucking still laying there.
Yeah, he sells this one knockout shot with the belt for the entire segment of this we're talking. As I said, this thing's like 10 to 15 minutes of time.
Yeah.
Like when I told David in the front half that this main event takes 30 minutes, a third of that is this ending bit, not the actual match.
Giant's just having a nice little nap on in the ring the whole time.
Yep. Like really making him look like a chump.
Yeah. No, damn. Two of our biggest superstars has got depowered as fuck with this match. Oh, it's so embarrassing. Christ.
So as we are now at the end of Hog Wild, and I can't say that it was worth it just for the NWO spray paint and the Harlem Heat match. I will call them highlights, though.
They are highlights
glad I got to share those moments with you.
No, I'm glad they're highlights of this episode, and I think highlights of this show. For two very different reasons. But yeah, this is the thing about the WCW arc as we followed it, is it works.
I lost you. No, we're so close.
No, microphone.
You glitched out for a second there. Please repeat.
I'm here. Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Here's the thing about the WCW era as we followed it, is that this is such a brilliant concept to do, so unique. So I wish I could have been the person in the room who came up with this angle and watched everybody's faces turn to me and watch their mouths drop open at how cool an idea this is. And it starts off really strong. They play that mystery super well. The problem becomes that there are certain things that hamstrung them, namely the WWF lawsuit and just the restrictions of what wrestling is as the medium. In order for them to take the NWO to become the single greatest, completely untoppable storyline that ever has run in wrestling and ever will, you would need to do things that just go completely taboo from everything wrestling is as a medium and as an art form, as sports entertainment, as everything. You would need to break so many rules to do that. And WCW wasn't in a position where they could go full out with that. So it leads to these little structural weaknesses that it's similar to Summer of Punk. There are just certain restrictions that inevitably are going to take away that bite unless you just go completely off the fucking rails with anything wrestling's ever done before. And of course, WCW in the 90s wasn't going to go there. They were trying to play it safe, to keep that ratings war over WWF going, and don't want to alienate the audience with anything too wild. And who knows if they had gone completely off the rails and done some crazy experimental shit with the storyline, if it would have worked out or not. But at the end of it all, you can still understand why this storyline got as big as it did, because it was really innovative and they did do some really cool new things with it. I mean, hell, they broke rules at the Disney show where they spent half of that not doing wrestling, just watching some tragedy unfold backstage because the outsiders decided to fuck with them. That was cool. That was a glimpse into what it could have been. And the moments where they break wrestling rules, where Hall comes in and takes over the mic and says, "You want a war, you got one." Where Kevin Nash lawn darts Rey Mysterio, and we spend half of our show watching the madness unfold backstage, where they spray paint the NWO logo on the title belt. Those are rule-breaking moments, and that's NWO at its peak. And those are mind-blowing things to do, and things that can never be that mind-blowing again. And it's no wonder why people in 2021 are wearing NWO shirts to a random taping of AEW Dynamite. I wish this thing could have been so much stronger than it ended up being, and that it didn't get driven into the ground. But damn, when those moments of brilliance popped up, they shone brighter than the sun.
Yeah. I feel like me saying this is almost like eating crow at my hatred of a WWE philosophy that exists right now. It's commonly stated that WWE doesn't care about storytelling. They care about the moments.
Yep.
That's what it's about. And I could go into an entire diatribe about of the importance of storytelling, how that organically creates moments that are more long-lasting than trying to manufacture them. And then all that kind of almost gets thrown out the window sometimes with the NWO. Of when I watch this shit week to week for preparation of this podcast, I'm like, oh, I can already see where this falls apart. I can already see how this is going to fuck up.
Oh, the writing's been on the wall almost since day one.
But then they do these such cool moments that are iconic and brilliant and awesome. And it's like, I see how this worked.
Yep.
I see how this became the biggest thing in wrestling. I see how it propelled WCW to being the number one company in wrestling for a year and a half. And how the NWO merchandise sells like hotcakes. How it revitalizes Hulk Hogan's career as it was limping along before WCW and in staleness before NWO happened. Like, holy it's how Kevin Nash's greatest legacy was no longer Diesel.
Oh God. This saved Nash and Hall both from just complete fucking obscurity, I think.
Yeah, because otherwise they would have probably been well known as like bright spots of the new generation, but still, the new generation.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's just wild to see some of these moments, and like it's kind of fun. It's been fun to visit them, and kind of it's fun that they're as good as WWE hype packages make them look like they are.
Yep.
Because that's kind of those things, something I worry about as someone who's seen plenty of WWE documentaries in my time, that like maybe they're overplaying this because that's their narrative of WCW, is that like WCW sucked except the NWO. That was really fucking cool.
Yep.
And then but then Attitude Era happened and they went back to sucking. So it's easy to be afraid that like maybe they're overshooting it, that maybe they're like just hyping themselves up because they're hyping up WCW as that's who they beat. But the moments are fucking cool. They like the best of the NWO holds up, and I'm happy for that because that doesn't always happen in wrestling.
Yep. Yeah. So it was so cool to follow this arc and see this huge part of wrestling history, and I feel like I've gained so much more cultural knowledge of all of this just from this one arc.
Yeah.
So damn.
And we'll be back to this arc to WCW eventually. It's kind of like Linkara in the Clone Saga comics, and there's so much of it. We will never be done with it.
Nope.
But for now, we're gonna put a cap on WCW as with Hulk Hogan, the NWO's on top. What happens now?
Oh boy.
But what are we replacing this arc with in our schedule? And speaking of wrestling that doesn't age well, in fact, it didn't age well when it aired. It didn't. It aged poorly after a day as it was airing. So I have decided that it is time for us to do a post-Attitude Era show in this spot. A Ruthless Aggression storyline.
Oh no.
And what Ruthless Aggression Era storyline can I do? I thought to myself, what can we do here? Because Ruthless Aggression isn't an era I'm always the most familiar with. But then I realized the perfect storyline we can do.
Oh no.
The most infamous storyline we can do. The storyline that is so bad that WWE tries to scrub it off of YouTube, throw it in the vault away from us all. No one can see this shit.
No.
We are watching in 2002. Triple H and Kane had a feud, and Triple H revealed Kane's ex-girlfriend. We're doing Katie motherfucking Vick.
I've heard very bad things about this era and very bad things about Kane during this era. I am terrified.
I am so excited to do the Katie Vick arc.
Christ in a handbasket. Oh,
if you know, you know, and if you don't, get ready.
I'm strapping in. A month from now, things are gonna get fucking wild.
But that's for a month from now. What about next week? And next week is very exciting. It's our 50th episode. I'm treating it as a bit of an anniversary special because I don't really care. Because I can do what I want.
We've been doing this for over a year, but that doesn't match up to a perfect 52 weeks. Shut up.
Either way, an even 50 episodes. And what are we going to do for our 50th episode? Well, we are going to take some inspiration from another podcast I listen to, Escape from Vault Disney. If you don't know what that is, it's a podcast where people who watch something on Disney Plus at complete random. Yep. And that is what we're going to do. Next week, we are going to be watching a episode of WWE TV on Peacock at complete random. And in fact, it is going to be so random that I am not going to say what episode we're going to watch next week. No, on their show, they, at the end of the episode, will spin the wheel, as it is, to figure out what they're going to do next week. Oh, no. Next week, we are picking the episode we're going to watch live right now.
Yeah, baby! Oh, I'm so hyped to randomize this shit. Yeah!
What will we be watching? God, who knows?
Come find out with us.
Yep. But that's then. Until then, David, hit our plugs.
Yes, sir. My friends, my dear, dear friends, thank you so much for once again joining us on another episode of the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast for this arc of the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast. We hope you've had a fantastic time with us. We know we sure have. If you are a returning listener, viewer, what have you, Thank you so much for once again welcoming us back into your eardrums, your eyeballs, what have you. We hope you continue to do so. It's just great having you guys around. If you are brand new to this show, welcome. We are delighted to have you here too. We here at the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast like to think we are friendly to both noobs and knockouts alike. So whether you're brand new to the wrestling fandom or you are a seasoned veteran, welcome. We're so happy that you're here. We hope you've had a great time. We hope you continue to have a great time with us. If you would like to continue to join us week after week and you're not entirely sure how to do so, not to worry, my friends, I have you covered. One, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. We are the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast on YouTube. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, make sure it turns a nice little solid color so that you get notifications every single time we drop a new episode. Check out our playlist. Austin is kind enough to throw all of our arcs into their own little playlist, so if you want to follow a specific storyline, you can. It's really cool, really awesome. Be sure to check that out. Add us to your playlist, give us those likes, comments, whatever. We love that sweet engagement. You can also find us in audio-only format on 3 of the best places to find your podcast, which would be Spotify, Apple, and Google. Check us all out on there. Give us the downloads, ratings, whatever the fuck else you do to just generally listen to the show, and also tell those platforms, hey, these guys are pretty cool, it's pretty dope, maybe they should get some more promotion. I don't know, I'm just saying. Check us all out on Spotify, on Apple, on Google, if you are a fan of the audio only experience. Also, we are on social media. There are 3 main places you can find us on social media. Number 1, we are on Twitter at Noobs and Knox Pod on Twitter. That's Noobs, the letter N, Knox Pod on Twitter. I'm pointing it right now onto the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Check us out on there. We like to interact with the broader wrestling fandom. We drop memes. We talk about current events. We post every single time we drop a new episode. And of course, the gigantic highlight of our Twitter is Austin live tweeting his wrestling watching experience week by week. My friend, what is on the docket coming up?
Of course. So, as usual, every Wednesday night on TNT at 8 p.m. Eastern is AEW Dynamite. The show that the only wrestling show I consistently watch live, so I'm going to go ahead and live tweet about it. And hey, sometimes David also gets involved.
Yeah, baby.
David's also watching Dynamite live these days.
Yup.
So, if you want to check us out on Twitter doing week to week, you can check that out. But in addition, I will also be watching the monthly pay-per-views for AEW, WWE, and Impact Wrestling. So, what's upcoming for that? Whoa. Coming up by the time this episode drops on Saturday, AEW Full Gear 2021. It's here. Our main event, Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page. My boy is winning the title. The anxious millennial cowboy is winning the world title.
My fucking cousin is going to be there for that, and I'm so jealous.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck you, Daniel.
Yeah, what the fuck, Daniel?
So that will be available on, if you're in America, Bleacher Report, if you're international, Fight TV, and as well as traditional pay-per-views. Now, November 21st will be WWE's next pay-per-view at Survivor Series. It is the one night a year where Raw and SmackDown go head-to-head, except for all the other nights of the year.
We don't talk about the super shows.
We don't talk about those. Only Survivor Series. Unfortunately, there are no current matches advertised for Survivor Series, and it's in 2 weeks.
Whoops-a-doodle.
So, whatever. I can't tell you what's going to happen. If you go on, it's available on Peacock, the same way that is available. The WCW Nitro is on Peacock. So, there you go. Then Impact Wrestling's next pay-per-view is all the way to January 8th, 2022 with Hard to Kill. Of course, we have absolutely no information about that pay-per-view yet because it is 2 months away, but we will keep mentioning it on this podcast and get more information about it as we get it.
Amazing. All right. Be sure to check all of that out. Austin's live tweeting is phenomenal. He drops very funny comments, some great insights. I can speak with experience when I say he's a pretty good person to spend your time watching wrestling with, even if it's in a digital only format. Be sure to check all of that out. We also have an email address. If you want to get into more direct contact with us, you can email us at noobsandknockoutspod@gmail.com. That's noobs, the word, and this time knockoutspod@gmail.com. Come say hi. Tell us what you think of the show, what you like, what you don't like, things you want to see us do, arcs, single episodes, extra wrestling media, whatever. We just just anything you want to hear on this show, phenomenal. Just, if you just want to drop in and tell us how sweet and wonderful the dulcet tones that come out of our vocal cords week after week are, we loved hearing it. Just come say hi. We love people saying hi. We would love to say hi back. So email us at noobsandknockoutspod@gmail.com. And finally, we are also on Patreon. We are also the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast on Patreon. $1 a month gets you early access to episodes and a shout out at the end of each episode.
See y'all next time.
Hasta luego.